Something very interesting is happening today. There is an emergency session in the White House this morning or this evening with top Trump officials, anyone from Susie Wiles, the chief of staff, to Pam Bondi, the attorney general, to Kash Patel, the FBI director. They'll all be meeting together at the vice president's residence over dinner to discuss the public response from this administration over the Jeffrey Epstein files. Why is this unusual? Because the Attorney General of the United States is supposed to be an independent kind of person within the executive branch, the FBI director as well. And yet they're all meeting now to discuss how to handle the Jeffrey Epstein files. You know who won't be there? Donald Trump, one of the persons listed in the Epstein files. But JD Vance, Donald Trump's vice president, is leading this effort. Now ask yourselves this: why is this happening? Why would JD Vance host this cabal type meeting with Attorney General Bondi, Director Patel, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, Susie Wiles, and potentially a few others? Well, the answer is they are worried about this getting out of control. We learned yesterday that Ghislaine Maxwell, according to ABC News, did not implicate Donald Trump in any incriminating actions during her over 9-hour meeting with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. But we also have seen a steady drip of information coming from the New York Times and elsewhere showing a closer than previously reported connection between Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. We've seen pictures of them together, we've seen letters sent by Trump to Epstein, and we're likely only to get more information. And as this steady drip continues, the White House is faced with a decision. Do we release the transcript of the meeting between Blanche and Maxwell? And right now, all signs point to yes. The Department of Justice is actively working to redact information from that transcript that could theoretically implicate individuals who are not necessarily directly connected to Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell, but may have some type of connection and therefore would appear in such a transcript. Now, apparently, Donald Trump's name is not implicated in any incriminating acts, which is why the DOJ will likely release this transcript or release parts of the audio of the meeting. But it begs the question: was it normal for Deputy Attorney General Blanche to meet with Maxwell in the first place? The answer is no. And is this meeting with Vice President Vance at the Vice President's residence, this dinner meeting to discuss the Epstein fallout, normal? No. Before I continue, please consider subscribing to support my work by clicking the button below or sending a one-time donation via Venmo to Aaron-Parnas. TikTok is suppressing everything Epstein related, so we have to get the word out through other means. It is not normal what we are seeing from this White House. As an attorney, I will say this: no criminal defendant gets the treatment that Ghislaine Maxwell has gotten. She got a sit-down meeting with the #2 law enforcement official in the United States of America, the Deputy Attorney General, who oversees a department of over 115,000 people. She then was moved from a secure facility in Florida to a minimum secure facility in Texas, the FPC Bryan facility, which is meant for white-collar offenders like Elizabeth Holmes, Jennifer Shaw, the former Real Housewife, and more. There was outrage over this movement. And well, now Maxwell has been moved. This type of treatment and this type of attention is given to no criminal defendant, let alone one convicted of sex trafficking and spending 20 years in federal prison as a result of it. So we're going to see what happens, but expect a steady drip of Epstein news coming out from the White House over the next several days. Meanwhile, in Texas, folks, Governor Greg Abbott filed an emergency petition to the Texas Supreme Court to remove Democratic Representative Gene Wu for leading a walkout that broke quorum and has prevented Republicans from passing gerrymandered maps that would completely redistrict Texas to eliminate 5 Democratic held seats. Abbott went directly to the Supreme Court and is specifically targeting Gene Wu. Gene Wu responded with this quote: "This office does not belong to Greg Abbott, and it does not belong to me. It belongs to the people of House District 137 who elected me. I took an oath to the Constitution, not a politician's agenda, and I will not be the one to break that oath." We're going to see what the Texas Supreme Court does. If the Texas Supreme Court removes Wu, that would be a historic development, one that would limit limit the voting rights of individuals in Wu's district who elected him in the first place. Overnight, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, led by Secretary RFK Jr., canceled more than $500 million worth of contracts, 22 of them to be exact, of mRNA vaccine contracts, including the Moderna bird flu vaccine deal, citing safety concerns without presenting scientific evidence. This move is being criticized by medical experts across the political spectrum. Meanwhile, late last night, a Democrat in Rhode Island won a special election for a Rhode Island Senate seat, 82% to 16%. That was a previous Democratic-held seat. They just won again. But here's why this is significant. Kamala Harris won the seat by just 11 points in 2024. This Democrat just overperformed by 50-plus points, marking the second biggest Democratic overperformance of the year. Sean Diddy Combs, his attorney, has confirmed that they have approached the Trump administration about a potential pardon following his conviction for 2 prostitution-related counts. He is currently facing up to 20 years in federal prison, 10 years on each of the counts. He is behind bars awaiting sentencing on October 3rd, as a federal judge has repeatedly denied his attempts to leave the facility pending sentencing. A federal judge blocked the Trump administration from reallocating $4 billion from FEMA's Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities program, siding with over 20 Democratic-led states that argued only Congress can redirect the disaster preparedness funds. An FBI report shows that violent crime in the United States fell 4.5% in 2024, with murders down 14.5% and at their lowest levels since the 1960s, directly contradicting Donald Trump's campaign claims of Biden-era crime wave, though experts caution that the data reflects only reported crimes and may undercount certain offenses. But overall, what Donald Trump is saying regarding crime in America just simply isn't true. But we could have guessed that. Meanwhile, Steve Witkoff, Donald Trump's envoy to the Middle East and also envoy now to Ukraine and Russia, met with Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, for 3 hours in Moscow today, just 2 days before Donald Trump's Friday deadline for Russia to agree to a Ukraine peace deal. Honda's quarterly operating profit fell 50% to just $1.2 billion as Trump's tariffs and U.S. EV losses hit earnings, with the car maker estimating tariffs will cost 450 billion yen this fiscal year, less than feared, but partly offset by U.S. price hikes, while ongoing reliance on Mexican and Canadian factories leaves it vulnerable to trade policies. Folks, there's a lot more news that happened overnight. Check it out below in my Substack. Spread the word, subscribe to support, and I'll see you in the evening. Hey folks, Aaron Parnas here. Thank you so much for watching The Parnas Perspective. Please consider subscribing to support our work as we grow this independent news media entity into something that rivals mainstream every single day. Thanks so much, and I'll see you soon.